Hello everybody, thank you for joining this video. This video is the Key Stage 2 Maths video for Newland Spring Primary School. So what we're going to do in this video today is talk about the curriculum that we use at Newland Spring and also some tips and tricks for times tables. So we'll start with the curriculum. So the new curriculum came in 2014. And the new curriculum had much higher expectations, but also mastery was a big word that came up. And mastery means everybody achieves. We don't leave anybody behind. And at Newland Spring, that's really important to us. So we were very pleased to see that in there. And also there's a big emphasis on formal methods, which we'll talk about a bit later as well. So the objectives that I'm going to show you now on screen are the Year 6 objectives. So these are the things that we're building up to. I won't read them all to you, but for place value, children are expected to be able to count and compare and talk about the value of a digit up to 10 million, massive number. They should be able to round any number as well up to 10 million and be able to count using negative numbers and use problem solving for all of these different things as well. For the 4 rules, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, the children should be able to add and subtract numbers up to 4 digits. They should be able to multiply a 4-digit number using the short multiplication method, but also the long multiplication method as well. And they should be able to divide a 4-digit number with remainders using what we used to use, the bus stop method. And that is the short method and the long method as well. Now, don't panic. Newland Spring has a calculation policy which shows you how to do the 4 rules. So if a child comes home with a new method or a new way of doing it, just have a look at our calculation policy, which is on our website under curriculum, and it will go through it all for you. They should be able to find the factors of a number and also be able to identify prime numbers and also be able to solve problems using all of these different things as well. Fractions, there are a lot of fractions in the Year 6 curriculum, so they should be able to compare and order them. They should be able to add, subtract, multiply and divide fractions as well. And they should be able to also multiply decimals by 10, 100 and 1000. And also find equivalences between fractions, decimals and percentages as well. With ratio and proportion, they should be able to solve different problems using sharing and grouping. And they also do algebra. They actually do algebra in Year 1 as well. And we build up towards Year 6. But basically, algebra is using a symbol to represent a number. And in Year 6, they are using missing numbers and symbols to solve different problems. And they actually get really, really complicated, but they are super at it. And then with measure, we are not just converting between metric measures, so meters and centimeters, but also imperial measures like pints and inches. So the children will usually have a conversion table that they can use for imperial measures, but for metric measures, they certainly need to know these off by heart. They can also find an area of a shape and use a formula for that. And they can also compare volumes using cubes and cuboids as well. So the reason they do all of this is because they are building up towards the Key Stage 2 SATs, which happen towards the end of Year 6. And this is a Key Stage 2 paper. So a lot of the questions in the paper will cover the curriculum from Year 3, Year 4, Year 5, and Year 6. So it's not just a Year 6 paper. There are 3 papers in total. So the first one is an arithmetic paper and it's very short. And there is a big focus on formal methods. They actually get 2 marks if they get the right answer straight away. But if they use a method and they only have one error in it, which made them get the incorrect answer, they can still get a point for that. So we do teach the children to show they're working all the time. They have 2 reasoning papers, and these are 40 minutes each. They no longer have a calculator. So we don't actually teach the children how to use a calculator because they don't need it. They do, however, have a protractor, a ruler, and a mirror. The tests are quite tricky. The expectations, like I said at the beginning, are much higher, and there is a lot of reasoning and problem solving in the 2 reasoning papers, and we are helping the children to use different strategies to problem solve. So here's an example of an arithmetic. So there's a nice big box to show you're working because we want those extra points if possible, but it's very much number based. For the reasoning paper, they have to do a bit more thinking. So a little bit more problem solving, trying things out, lots and lots of jottings and showing you're working. As you can see, it's still using their number knowledge, but they have to think about it a bit more. So what we're doing as a school to get them there is we are using White Rose to teach children how to achieve these objectives, but in very small steps. So we take things very slowly, making sure we keep everybody together, don't leave anyone behind. But we're also deepening the knowledge and applying the knowledge so that everyone is being stretched, because we know that some children are very whizzy at maths as well. We follow the fluency, reasoning and problem solving strategies in White Rose so that the children are able to apply their learning, and we're constantly assessing them throughout the year to make sure that we're picking up on any gaps, but also we want them to get used to assessments, and we do tell them about SATs because they're a bit older, so they know what they're working towards. And we then give bands at the end of the terms, and we have super learning support assistants in Year 6 who are constantly supporting children. We also have learning support assistants throughout Year 3, Year 4 and Year 5 who are, again, filling gaps, but also stretching and challenging children as well. We teach them test technique for SATs. So we teach them how to approach a SATs question in the most effective way, and how not to waste any time. We also do arithmetic tests every week in Year 6, and in Year 3 and Year 4 and Year 5, we have arithmetic tests as well. And we are getting them used to the formal methods. And we start the formal methods in Year 3. So feel free to teach them the lovely formal methods that we learned at school. And if there are any problems, or if you're unsure of the format or how to set it out, please look at our calculation policy, which is on our website. So as I said, there's going to be some parent booklets coming out as well. So there's a parent booklet for Year 3, Year 4, Year 5, and Year 6. And these are interactive. They have pictures on, and most of the pictures, when you click on them, will take you to a website, either a video or a game, and that's to support you at home. So if a child comes home with some homework and you're not quite sure how to approach it, please have a look at our parent booklets, which will be coming out very shortly. One of the main things, though, that we're building up towards, particularly in Year 4, is the times table tests. Now, times table tests are very important because they are getting children ready for fractions and for ratio and for percentages. So the times tables need to be secure before they get to Year 5 because the maths gets a lot harder. So we need the times tables secure. So in Year 4, we have a test, usually towards the end of the year. And the children should have learnt their 2s, 5s and 10s in Year 2. Their 3s, 4s and 8s in Year 3. And their 6s, 7s, 11s, 12s and 9s in Year 4. I had to remember that. And we do a lot of practice for the times table test so that the children are ready, because it is under a timer, so they can find this a bit tricky. So here is the progression that we do. And here's some information about the test. So the test takes no longer than 5 minutes, and there are 25 questions in the test. They only have 6 seconds though to answer the question, so not a lot of time at all. And these mainly are around the 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, and 12s because they're the harder times tables. So the question will appear once. Once it's gone, it's gone. And using an iPad, they will type in the answer. And once they've typed in the answer, the question goes. So we do a lot of practice with our children to get them ready for this test. So in order to get our children ready, we try and teach them little tips and tricks so that they can learn their times tables effectively. So the 3s are hopefully quite easy to learn. We do a lot of counting up and down in 3s, but also there's another little trick to see if a number is in the 3 times table. So if you add up the digits of the number you want to find out about, and the answer comes to 3, 6, or 9, then it is in the 3 times table. For example, if I wanted to know if 15 is in the times table of 3, I need to add 1 and 5 together, and that gives me 6. And therefore, it is in the 3 times table. So that's a nice little trick. For the 4 times table, if you know your 2s, you know your 4s, because you can double the answers. For the 8s, again, if you know your 2s and your 4s, then that can help you with your 8 times table. So try and make those links there as much as you can. For the 6s, the 6s are quite hard. If you know your 3s, then you can double the answers for your 6s. But here are some little phrases that we use to help the children learn their 6s. So you might want to use those with your children as well. With the 9s, we actually use our hands. So as you can see on the diagram, you number your fingers 1 to 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then what you do, if you want to work out 2 times 9, you put your second finger down, and then whatever is to this side of it is going to be a 10. And whatever is to this side is going to be a 1. So 10 add 8 ones is 18. So 2 times 9 is 18. So we do teach the children that little trick as well. Also, you may notice with the 9s that they are going in a pattern. So our 10s are going 1 10, 2 10s, 3 10s, 4 10s, 5 10s, and so on. And the 1s are going down 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's a nice little trick for you to use as well for the 9s. For the 7s, I highly recommend the Dua Lipa song, the 7 times table song on YouTube. We sing this a lot in Year 4 and they absolutely adore it, but there's also some phrases on the board that help with the 7s. The 11s, nice and easy. Love the 11s. Get the children to spot the pattern, but they absolutely adore 11, 22, 33, and so on. For the 6s, we use the 6s then to know our 12s, so we can double our 6 times table, and that helps us to learn our 12s. And also, if you go on YouTube, there are lots of times table songs for the 12s as well. So the children are completing a booklet at school for their times tables, and they are achieving their bronze, silver, and gold awards. And hopefully you'll see them come home with little times table tiles when they've achieved their bronze, which is the 2, 5s, and 10s, the silver, which is the 3s, 4s, and 8s, and the gold for the rest of them. So hopefully you'll see those coming home. And I highly recommend Times Table Rockstars and hit the button for times tables for at home. So what can you do? Like I say, use the parent booklets. They are absolutely fantastic and they will hopefully give you some ideas. The main thing I would say is times tables up to Year 4. And then for Year 5 and 6, have a look at the calculation policy and that will go through different methods that you can then show the children at home, and also telling the time, because they have to be able to tell the time to the minute. So whenever you do anything at home, like cooking dinner or getting ready in the morning, please keep referring to the clock, because they need to be able to tell the time to 1 minute on a clock. So that's the end of our presentation for today. I hope you have found it useful, and please let me know. My name is Mrs. Hyde. If you need any support at home, please let me know. You can email the office and I will do my best to support you. But thank you so much for coming to the presentation, and hopefully you'll have some happy maths time together with your children. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.